Hi Mini Makers, welcome back to my channel. In this week's video we're going to be making a nerve cell out of ready-made paper mache. Hope you enjoy. I'm making this for a biology school project and we have to make a plant or animal cell, and for extra marks you can make a specialised cell. So I'm going to make an animal nerve cell, which is a specialised cell. So this is the ready-made paper mache, and for those of you that don't know, paper mache is usually made out of paper, glue and water, and it basically just makes up a bit of a paste, and then when it dries it becomes hard. I've made so many things for school out of paper mache, but this is some ready-made one, and I think it's bits of shredded paper, basically very finely shredded, and then all you have to do is put in the water, and once it dries it'll go hard like all the other paper maches. And we're going to be using this as well, so that on one end of the nerve cell you can lift the lid off and see what's inside. So hopefully I get more marks for that. So the plant or animal cell has to be small, has to be no bigger than 40 by 40 centimetres and no smaller than 10 by 10 centimetres. So we're going to do it 20 by 40 since an animal nerve cell is more long than it is wide or tall. We've decided to migrate into the kitchen because it is so cold out there. It's basically unbearable because there's like some sort of storm and it's really windy and it's really cold and it's raining and it's just not very nice out there. So we moved into the heat where we're all nice and warm, and now we're going to plan out our nerve cell. So I'm going to be drawing what are called the dendrites, and they're just these little bits that come off. This is just rough kind of plan idea. So obviously that's not what they actually look like, but it's just a rough idea. Just to get a kind of grip on size. And they go all around the body where the nucleus is. So quite a lot. And then there's also some at the other end. And I'm really not a very good drawer, so this is just really rough. So this pot, just for a bit of background, is going to be covering the nucleus, and when you lift it off it's going to be like what you see inside the cell, so that's going to be quite an interesting feature of it. This is called the myelin sheaths, and it's just like the long bit that connects it with the other parts where the axon terminals are. And basically it's just the like, imagine this is by your brain. The thoughts will come down here, they'll go through the cell, through here, and then out to the places they need to go. For example, if you want to pick up a cup or something, it'll go through this nerve and to your hands. So we've cut the pipe quite a lot shorter, so it did look like this, and now it's much shorter because it basically took up the entire length of the material. So we didn't have space to do the dendrites. So we've cut that bit off, and now I'm going to do the axon terminal with the dendrites. And once again, it's just a really kind of rough idea of what it's going to look like, and it's more for size than guidance, really, for me anyway. So I know how big to make them, And when it actually comes to the time of making them out of the paper mache, I use something online to help me with the guide. Okay, I think that should do it because there's just not quite as many on the bottom as it is on the top. Now we've got the papier mâché, it's been mixed a little bit already, but I'm just going to mix it a little bit more so that it gets the perfect texture. Now all you have to do is mix it with some water and it's literally done. It's so simple, you don't even need to add glue. I don't know how, but it's already in there, even though it doesn't look like it. The sound is absolutely revolting. It's just squelchy. See, it's so easily mouldable, and when it dries, it will go hard. So I'm going to start with covering this bottom layer with it. It's kind of disgusting, to be perfectly honest, but I know it's going to work well, so I'm trying to make it as neat as possible. It probably doesn't look very neat now, but I'm hoping that as it goes on, I'm just going to push that out of the way because it's a bit annoying. As time goes on, it will neaten up and as it dries. But for now, I just need to worry about how even it is, I think, and getting to the edges. We've added a little bit more of the papier mâché to it because it was a little bit wet, and now I can make a sausage out of it because it's thick enough and a bit more dry. So I'm just going to put this down onto the paper, the material, and then kind of like squish it down a bit and sculpt it a bit. Because I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, because when I flatten it out again, it will get thicker. So I don't want to make it thin to the point where it's like a stick though. So that looks pretty good. Now we have all the dendrites covered in, well, on the top side anyway, and we're going to cover the bowl in this now so that it doesn't just look like a bowl that we're taking off. And then we'll do the dendrites on the lower side and the covers for the piping, which is the main body. And then we will make the nucleus, mitochondria, lysosomes, all those kind of things out of Fimo, which is oven bake, and then we can hot glue those or just normal glue them onto the already existing clay. Now the papier mâché has all dried and we've given it a coat of white paint as a prime, and we have all the colours lined up that I think I'll need here. I've got a blue, red, light green, dark pink, pink and dark green, and I was thinking that I could do the dendrites a pink or a red, like so these bits would be pink and red, and then like a lighter colour for cytoplasm. Unfortunately, I can't film the painting because one, that would be really boring, and two, that would make a really long video. So I'm just going to check in occasionally as I progress with the painting. So since you were last here, it's all been painted, and as you can see, it's nice, bright and colourful, and I think it's worked really, really well. And now we are ready to put on the nucleus, the rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the lysosomes, mitochondria, and put it all inside what's going to be under this shell, which is the cytoplasm, and we're going to all put it on top of that purple part, and that's going to be the main attraction of the cell. So now I'm going to hot glue these in, and it's falling apart a little bit, as you can see, but we're just going to glue them into place and kind of slot them back together again, and it should all be fine.
And we're doing hot glue because they're just a bit more secure. So there's not much glue left, so I'm going to have to refill in a minute. But now the cell is entirely finished. Everything's painted, everything's not labelled yet, that's the next step, but everything's painted, glued in, and all the steps have been completed. And just as a little recap of what everything is, these pink bits over here and over here are the dendrites, this is the axon, the green parts here, these are the myelin, and if you think of an electrical wire, and it has the insulation around it, this is basically the equivalent of that, because this is basically like a massive wire. Imagine your phone, the cable you use to charge your phone, this is basically that. And then this is the cell, this represents the cell membrane. This is the cell wall. This is the cytoplasm. These are the mitochondria, lysosomes, so the yellow bits are the lysosomes, orange are mitochondria. The blue is the nucleus, and the pink bits around here, well, they do look quite a lot like dendrites. They're called rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and these are Golgi apparatus. Yeah, so it's all done, and I think it looks pretty realistic from what I've seen anyway. This is the creative part of it, and now we're going to go away and do the boring part, the labelling, off camera. So we're probably just going to end it here, and I'm sorry this is a bit late uploading. I know we didn't have a video last week either, but we've got lots of stuff planned for next week, which I think is going to be really cool. I've got a whole series planned after that, so that's going to be great. But I obviously had to finish this for school, so it had to look pretty good, and I think it does. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And remember, I upload new videos every weekend. Bye, Mini Makers!